Opportunity Calls with Ellen Volpe is sponsored by LongIsland.com.
I'm joined today by Stephen Goldberg, Managing Partner of Sun Mergers and Acquisitions. Stephen, thank you very much for joining me today.
Bob, thank you, and thanks for having me. It's really good to be here.
It's a pleasure. I always look forward to speaking with you. And for our audience, could you please give us a nice overview of what Sun M&A is all about?
Well, Sun M&A helps business owners of entrepreneurially owned, privately owned companies who are going through really one of the biggest transactions of their life, the sale of their business. And we help them with all aspects of the sale of their company. Most of these business owners, Bob, they've been in their business for 20, 30 years. They've never sold their business. This is a once-in-a-lifetime situation. So we help them, we guide them in handling all facets of a transaction from inception to completion and helping them through this life-changing transaction of selling their company.
What are some of the steps that someone needs to take in order to prepare to sell their business?
Preparation is important, and there are a number of steps that you can take in advance. Some of the key steps that come to mind initially is, I think it's important to have a realistic understanding of the valuation of the company coming in. You want to also understand the tax implications, the deal structure options. In other words, the more you can be informed at the outset, the better you're able to make these key decisions. Also, addressing potential deal killers up front before you get into the heat of a deal is important. And what do I mean by deal killers? If you're dealing with some potential litigation, environmental issues that you need to take care of, key contracts that you have to secure, being able to deal with that in advance, being able to address any key dependencies like contracts with key customers or employment agreements. One last thing I want to mention is really putting together the right team up front. You as the seller, you only do this once in a lifetime. Find the right investment banker or M&A advisory person. Find the right attorney, the right CPA that can guide you through this. Very important to do that all up front, Bob.
What are some of the mistakes that people usually make when they're contemplating selling their business?
Related to what I just mentioned, I think going to market without a realistic value expectation. Some people think their business is worth 2 and 3 times what they thought it was, and they go forward with a process. It's a very time-consuming process. It could be jeopardizing confidentiality, and yet they really aren't able to achieve the goal they thought they can achieve. Another one is trying to be a lone ranger. You know what I mean by that is business owners are so used to doing everything on their own, and not getting the right professional guidance could really harm them. So putting together the right team is important, and some people just try to go at it on their own. Another key mistake I see, Bob, all the time is when a seller gets enamored or gets locked in with one buyer, rather than having discussions with multiple potential buyers and therefore creating options. Very important to create options because you're much more likely to obtain the type of transaction that you want to achieve if you have options. You have leverage. And then a last mistake that comes to mind is, as a seller, you don't want to take your eye off the ball of the business. Many times you can get so distracted with the process of selling a business that the company could suffer. And as it's getting now to the due diligence period, and the company's running out of gas. And so you have to keep your eye on the ball as if you're going to own it forever.
What are the primary reasons for a business owner to have an evaluation done?
The business is usually a business owner's largest asset. So it's crucial to know what the business is worth so you can make these key decisions on a very informed basis. But also what it does, Bob, is it can also really provide you with a roadmap to determine, hey, what's the best timing to sell? And also, what are the things that you can do over the next year or so to really continue to enhance or increase the value of a company? So for all of these reasons and many more, I think it's critical that a business owner should have a business valuation, because after all, the business is generally by far the most valuable asset that that business owner owns.
Stephen, what are some of the questions that a seller can anticipate getting from a potential buyer?
That's a good question, Bob. It's funny, we handle the sale of many businesses, yet you hear those same key questions over and over again. And it's a great question because as a seller, the more you can be prepared for these questions and know how to respond to them in the best way, how to address them is key. People are going to always ask you as a seller, hey, why are you selling? What's your reason for selling? They want to know, are you retiring? Especially when someone's younger, hey, why are you selling? They want to know that there's nothing behind it. There's nothing happening in the industry or happening with their business that they're running away from. Buyers will always want to know, will the customers remain with the company when you as the seller are no longer involved? Will there be a smooth transition? Is there any customer concentration where any major customer is representing a huge portion of the business? Other things that I can think of are that they'll want to understand who are the key employees. Are there employment agreements in place? Is the revenue has it been increasing or is it decreasing? And what are the reasons for this? What are the revenue projections over the next year or so? Another key one that we always hear, hey, what kind of growth opportunities, assuming we want to take it from point A to point B, what growth opportunities are there? And on the other end of it, hey, what are the risks here? What keeps you up at night as a seller? So those are about 5 or 6 questions, Rob, that we get every time. And the better you can be prepared for it up front, the better off you are in terms of being able to credibly answer those questions.
Stephen, why would a business owner benefit by using an M&A advisor like Sun versus selling the business on his own?
Well, I will say that, as a business owner, you've been involved with your company for 10, 20, 30 years. No one knows your company like you do. But most of the time, you've never sold a company before. And you don't want to experience a learning curve on something that you do only once where there's so much at stake. And so to work collaboratively with an advisory firm that has done this 300 times and understands what's coming next, understands how to present the company in the right way, is so key. And, so what can an advisory firm do? It can help you, as I mentioned, present the company in a way that will maximize value, understand how to prepare, how to present those value drivers, how to develop projections, how to allow you to be prepared for the intense scrutiny that you're going to receive from buyers. Another one is, identify strategic buyers and investment groups that will see the most value in the company. Negotiating and structuring a transaction. Unlike a real estate deal where we either agree on the purchase price or we don't, with a business transaction, there are so many options on how you can structure a transaction. The tax implications are huge, depending on how you structure it. The risk factors are huge. So being involved with a company that's done this hundreds of times before, it allows you to really structure it in a way that's going to make the most sense. Another key area that's so important is confidentiality. Confidentiality is so important when you sell a business. And when you're working with a professional M&A advisory firm, we understand how to manage this whole process in a very, very confidential and professional manner.
Moving to networking, you and I met well over 10 years ago at a networking event on the golf course, World Golf with Dan Pincus. What are you doing now during this pandemic to network with others?
We, in our business, timing is everything. And you can have, you develop great relationships through networking over the years. But it's so important to keep in touch with people so you're top of mind in this business. When people know of a client that wants to sell, they think of you because you've been in touch with them. So what we're doing now is we do a lot of broadcast emailing, for example, keeping in touch with the people that we've met over the years in our networking groups and networking avenues, and keeping in touch with them with articles, with emails, reminder emails, because it's just about being in front of people. So when the timing is right, when they know that they need someone who needs a valuation, a business valuation, and they know someone who's thinking about selling, they could think about our company. And that's what really we've been focusing on during this time.
Stephen, thank you for speaking with me today.
Thank you, Bob.
Opportunity Calls with Ellen Volpe is sponsored by LongIsland.com. American Business Associates is New York Metro's premier business development and networking association. To learn more about ABA, visit aba-ny.com.